Yeah, so this is just a short message to express my opinions on belonging to groups, trusting people, and the monetization of the truth. So everybody has a past history and experience in belonging to groups and of trusting people. I've got my experiences, good and bad, in business and in personal life. I've had my ups and downs financially and emotionally, as I'm sure everybody else has too. And in all those situations, it wasn't just me that was involved, because if you're in a group, then it's other people that are also involved. Now, every group or team or club or associations and unions and societies, outfits, institutions, and a lot of other collective nouns that you could use, platoons, regiments, brigades, just to name a few. But all these groups have complex social dynamics because of the diverse nature of the people who are in those groups. And these groups are influenced and dependent on the wishes and the desires and the motives and the intentions of the individuals that are involved in the groups, and naturally also then of the hierarchical structures and the leaders within these groups. And leadership can be based on many things, depending again on the intent of the people. It can range from competence to downright control. Um, of course, when we join a group, or we want everything to run smoothly and ideally, and for people to be working with one another and not against each other. But at the same time, we all have our own expectations, and they more often than not go unrealized. And this can be a failing of one's own expectations, some kind of mismatch, or of one's own character and attitude. But it can also obviously be that of the other people in the group, or of the group's leadership's objectives and goals. Now, if you do something yourself, then you only have yourself to blame if it fails, but that would appear to me to be something that many people nowadays avoid. Fear of ridicule, of embarrassment, or failure. That can paralyze well-intentioned people to even start something. And unfortunately, it's become a kind of normal behaviour for many people to do that. They'd rather seek comfort in numbers, or have their decisions made for them. And on the flip side, there's also highly dedicated people with diverse motives that might want attention or recognition and praise, or even idolatry and celebration status, or they're seeking fame and fortune, or they want to attain some kind of power and hierarchical control. But they might even just be chasing money so as to feed their family. And these are all motives that many people can have, and all these things can make people behave and act in different ways. That even though they're maybe initially innocent and well-meaning, can lead to many problems: jealousy, pride, greed. All the proverbial seven sins, if you like, or even just small stuff: disappointment, disillusionment, and can end up in infighting within a group. Is there anybody right or wrong? So personally, I don't know if there's any absolute moral judgment scale. I've never seen one, and nor can I see people agreeing in one. Obviously, nobody's perfect, and nobody has the right to morally judge others, maybe until such a scale is universally acknowledged. But everybody has the right to make their own way in the search for truth, and I would defend his or her right to do it their way. Who am I to stop others doing that? But that doesn't mean that I defend their actions, or nor should I be hesitant in giving my opinion. If the actions of people in groups or individually are base or wicked or deceitful or deceptive or troublemaking or bullying or intimidating, or even if they are hindering me in my search for the truth, then I think I have every right to call a spade, a fool, a liar, and an enemy an enemy. I've got the right to my opinion and free expression in my words and deeds as well. Do I trust people? Sure. I trust people with lots of things every day. My children to take the dog for a walk, my employer to transfer wages, friends to speak good of me, my mother to love me, lots of things. But would I trust anybody to represent me? Generally, no. Not would I fuck. I wouldn't trust my brothers or my best friends with the things that are most important to me. Um, so I mean, it's okay if I ask my brothers whatever to step in for a musical engagement, no problem. They're great musicians. They can represent me. It might not be the same. It probably better, in fact, but they would do their best, and I would trust them to give it their best shot, and that's fine. I'd be thankful for that support. But would I ask them to represent me in an area of expertise they know nothing or little about? Whatever, maths, physics, philosophy, or represent the truth about the world that I live in and I'm part of it and the way I see it, represent my position on the flat earth, something this important? No, I wouldn't. Not for something this important, and it wouldn't be fair of me to ask them, just as it wouldn't be fair for them to even try. And because, to fail to do so accurately and correctly and misrepresent my position would not be a good thing for any of us, or for the friendship that we then have. Yeah. Would I ask people from beyond the imaginary curve to present my research instead of myself? No, I wouldn't. And I wouldn't ask somebody, and they would probably refuse if they're smart. Yeah. I wouldn't explain things that I only have theoretical knowledge about and no practical experience. Yeah. So you should represent yourself and nobody else, neither another individual or any group identity. You don't give away any of your own unique active powers to anybody else. Your own active power to make good judgment, to present your opinions directly and immediately to others. Don't expect others to do it for you, and don't ask it of others. Going back to my position on finding and presenting what I consider to be truths, then I personally do not want something as important as a truth of this magnitude to fall victim to the same issues and problems that are so easily found in daily life, or that form and shape, groups, dynamics, and group objectives, and whatever the involvement of ideologies of men and women with their own agendas. So I don't want the truth to be mixed up in that whole problematic issue. Because for me, the truth in general, and this one in particular, is something really, I don't know, pure and innocent might be words, and we need to protect it from all possible problems at all costs, even if that's to the detriment and or disadvantage of others, including loved ones. A simple example of that would be, temporarily displeasing, the heart of a child, by denying them Santa Claus, but that discomfort should be secondary to telling the truth, because the truth matters more, right? And as far as this whole thing goes, we might never get another chance to break this spell, so let's not fuck it up. Now, we also know that money is unfortunately a big motivating factor in the lives of men and women in this life's motley tapestry. And whether this is just to live and survive or to dominate and control, we know that money and power can corrupt. I don't need to tell people this or repeat this. Everybody knows it. The most well-intentioned beginnings can deteriorate into a backstabbing frenzy, and that's just amongst your friends. Never mind people you don't know and have never met. So you have to ask yourself: is it then a responsible course of action to be involved in that kind of thing? The truth, as far as I'm concerned, shouldn't play second fiddle or take a backseat to anything. It's absolutely paramount to real progress, and especially in an arena or community of self-proclaimed, flat earth inquirers. I expect absolutely nothing less than complete honesty and integrity from all of those involved. And those who can't bring that to the table, are not willing or not capable, I think they should stay away, because I fear they build more hurdles and spread unnecessary confusion without contributing towards the truth and or empowerment of people. And exactly that's where I think the problem lies, in cooperating and collaborating in a group mentality with its concomitant hierarchy structures and pecking orders, requests and approvals and acclaims and salutations and all the different directions and avenues of pursuit and endeavour that the individuals in the groups have, or the marketing, the events, the PR, the spin, all the way down to little fibs and foibles of people. Yeah, people are fallible, they're gullible, they're dishonest, they're sneaky, deceitful, narcissistic, ego-driven, some of the above, all of the above, and even if I give everybody an initial modicum of credulity, at least until proven otherwise and by a direct experience, and even if I hope and wish for veracity and integrity, even if I grant all of that, we'd be absolutely naive to think that it will all magically work out well, because, hey, our professional and personal lives tell us otherwise. So I'm going to remain a loner, as I've been for most of my 53 years. I'm going to take responsibility, and I'll continue with my own beliefs and inquiries, and take responsibility for my own thoughts and opinions and my own actions and deeds. I'll be friendly and open for any kind of sincere and honest discourse. All my work or research materials, thoughts and opinions will be public domain and free. I'm willing to justify and warrant any conclusions or my conclusions in any reasonable discussion. I'm going to express myself on my own, my opinion, and only in certain circumstances would I do it for those too weak or feeble to do it themselves. Because generally speaking, I would rather empower them to do the same so that they never have to rely on others to do their thinking for them. I'm going to stand next to those people who represent the truth responsibly and accurately, and without any other underlying motive or intent in their actions. I'm going to avoid people who do not actively support personal empowerment of the people, who do not call for full exploration, who covet some kind of ideology, those who, personally speaking, don't embrace direct realism are problematic as far as I'm concerned, and people who, whatever, have claims for maps and models or other metaphysical conjectures and are pushing them as objective facts, I'm going to avoid as well, and including those people who are only seeking to further their own aims. And I think everybody should think deeply about what they really stand for, self-reflect on their motives and their intent, and think hard about what they are representing, or presenting rather, and how they are doing it. I think it's the only way to shatter this mind virus and culture of idolatry and narcissism and snobbery and groupthink, and that seems to be pretty pervasive in this arena. And I think it's also the problem we allowed ourselves to get into this fucking mess in the first place. Yeah, so I won't be joining groups, I will support and collaborate where and when I can based on individual assessments, but never by way of, some kind of herd mentality or because of a group ideology. People who know me know that I sought out and actively chose to align myself with the message of Dell and Beyond the Imaginary Curve. I personally desire to show that academics and the common man, people from all walks of life, can be in agreement on self-evident truths, and that there needn't be no divide, dichotomy, or debate, and neither in how we all dismantle belief systems, how we assess our direct reality, how we ascertain objective facts, how we use our common senses, how we make good judgment, and how we pursue the truth. I will continue to fight any deliberate turpitude. We know that we've been deceived and deluded, and that a large part of that was because we passively aligned with others or trusted others, gave away our authority, became intellectually lazy, let others do our thinking, or we're maybe just happy to go along to get along, or we needed a comfort blanket, but those things were quilted and provided by others. So I think anybody that thinks that joining another group is not going to have the same problems that they've experienced in life, I think that's naive. I just escaped a cult mentality and a kind of peer pressured pseudoscience belief, so why would I jump out of the frying pan back into the fire? Joining a group for a sense of belonging, or for an elusive feel-good factor, or just for confirmation bias and praise and adulation. Um, these are things that, you know, we experience and witness all the time, and hey, I'm guilty of them myself before waking up to this bullshit. So, you know, I realize the dangers. I understand now the strengths and weaknesses of my own mind, and that helps me discern it in others. And I'm just determined not to conflate, you know, emotions, feelings, and sensations with this pursuit of the truth. It's too important for me and too dangerous. Another point that's, I think, you know, for me at least, you know, I detest feigned sincerity, so people who don't really believe or mean what they say. And I think I detest it slightly less than intellectual snobbery. And both of these things seem to be an integral characteristic of groupthink. So I'd rather be deluded with the common man than be part of a misguided group of people unknown to me, however well-intentioned and innocent they might perceive themselves to be. I'm going to continue to drink in the public bar in the company of the vulgar, and rather than dine in the lounge bar with intellectual snobs. And yeah, if there's one way to sum this up, it's probably that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You can replace hell with the road to perdition or utter destruction. But I think we know that well-meaning people doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to go well. So yeah, be careful with that, and thanks for listening.